Hey everybody, welcome back to another unboxing and review G.I. Joe Classified Edition. And today we're going to be taking a look at the first retro figure I reviewed on this channel for Classified, and it's Recondo. Now I know I haven't done any of the retro figures for the other waves yet, because with the exception of Recondo and the Scarlet I'm doing this week, the only other two figures I've gotten that I've actually opened are Gung Ho and the Crimson Guard. And I'll get to the Crimson Guard when I do the Crimson Guard review. I don't know what I'll do Gung Ho, but I figured when I do the standard Crimson Guard review for a Blast from the Past, I would just throw the retro in there as well, just to show the comparison between the two. I should have probably done that with Gung Ho when I did his review, but I didn't at the time, so we'll have to wait and see how that goes later. I don't know, I don't have like a timeline for when I'm going to do the Gung Ho retro review. This Recondo came out in the same wave as Scarlet and Duke. Now, I did get a retro Duke, but I only got one. I got two of the Recondo and the Scarlets because I plan on opening one of each of them. The Duke I didn't think was enough of a difference to get one to open, because one, I liked the original Duke we got just fine. Like, I didn't think the retro Duke was any better or any worse than the one we got originally in the first wave of this line. Also, I had the Mezco Duke pre-ordered, and I generally replace my classified figures in my display with the Mezco ones because they tend to be better. Like, I've done that with Destro and Snake Eyes and Roblox so far, and as soon as I get Storm Shadow and Firefly, I will replace them in my display as well. Eventually I'll have a big enough display room that I can put out the Mezco separately from the classified, so then I can bring out Duke. And at that point, I'll probably get a second Duke to open. I'm sure I'll buy him sooner, just in case he sells out or something like that, but I probably won't have a reason to open him before then. But today we're going to look at Recondo. I also have the Tiger Force Recondo, but we'll do a Blast from the Past for that later. I could have probably brought him out and did them together, but I think enough time will have passed by the time I get to Recondo and the Blast from the Past series that, people will forget about this one. In any case, as you can see, the retro versions of these figures are basically just blown up versions of the 3 3/4 inch cards that we got back in the day, back in the 80s. So this is a 6-inch figure, so almost twice as big overall. And of course, nice sturdy card. One of the big issues they had with the retro line in the early days with the card was stock was so thin and flimsy, it got bent easily and destroyed in packaging. And of course, people blamed Walmart a lot for that. Walmart used to be had the exclusive rights to these figures. They had a few of them on Pulse, but generally those sold out quickly, and you could only get this through Walmart. And they had a habit of utterly destroying these cards. Like, they would put the figure in boxes that were too small and end up bending the top half of the card completely in half, or just bending the side, and they really destroyed these cards. I don't know if that played a part in Hasbro taking away the exclusivity from Walmart, but if I had a guess, it might have played a little bit of a part in that. But anyway, they have much sturdier cards now. This is similar to the stock that you get for the Marvel Legends retro cards, much thicker. So that's a good thing. And you can see the artwork is not identical to what we got in the 3 3/4 inch line. Like, they didn't just take the original artwork and blow it up for the bigger card. They actually redrew it. But it looks similar enough to the original figure. Of course, one of the main ways you can tell they redrew it, because he did not have this gun on the original card. He had a completely different gun. But other than that, these things look fantastic. And that's the reason why I buy two of them if I'm going to open them. because I want to keep at least one completely intact on card, and I will get display cases to put these in, and I will hang them on my wall eventually. The whole lineup of the retro waves. But I want to get display cases first because I don't want them getting covered in dust sitting on the wall unprotected, you know. So looking at the back, you can see the figures they released in this wave, as well as some legalese here at the bottom. And then you got your file card here. Unfortunately, it's in 5 different languages, so you only get a little blurb at the top in English. Not really. Like, I know in Canada specifically, you're not allowed to release stuff like this unless it has English and French. That's like a law there. And they may have laws about that for European countries as well. I don't know. But we have like English, of course, and French. Then we have German here. And then Spanish and probably Portuguese, I'm guessing, because that looks close enough. I don't think it's Italian. It might be Italian, I don't know. The bottom one could be Italian. I know this one's Spanish, and I'm positive this one's German because I do read German, speak a little bit, and that one's French, obviously. I wish they could have done, you know, different languages for different countries so that we could have a larger card. Unless there's a law preventing them from doing that, like there is from Canada, I don't see any reason why they couldn't have done that. Like, for instance, yeah, I understand they don't want to make different cards for different countries. That would probably be a pain in the ass, but yeah. It would be nice if they would do their, redo the website. There used to be a G.I.Joe website you could go to, and there would be a list of characters with larger blurbs. They were still pretty small, but they were a little bit bigger than this. They need to bring that website back. I think they shut it down originally because of the pandemic. They didn't want to pay the guy who was running it to keep doing it while the pandemic was going on. Anyway, I made my incision in the bottom so that I can pull the tray out without ruining this nice card. So we will do that now. As you can see, it does come with a stand. And this stand has the G.I.Joe star on it. It's all in black. Unfortunately, unlike the Crimson Strike team, it does not have the character's name on it. It would be nice if they had done that. I'm guessing there were costs involved. It would be much easier just to release the stands in one style for every character rather than pay extra to get names engraved in each one. So that's unfortunate that they went that route. I would have liked to have seen the names. I know in one of the modern era years, I can't remember if it was 25th anniversary or 50th anniversary or 30th anniversary, or maybe all of them. I know that they had stands with the names. And if I remember correctly, I could be wrong about this, but I think the Walmart Retro 3 3/4 inch line that they briefly did, that they only made like 8 characters for whatever, I think those came with stands that had the names written on them. But I can't remember. I don't have any out where I can look at them, so you'll have to tell me if I was right about that, if I'm recalling correctly. Anyway, here we have Recondo, real name Daniel LeClaire. This guy was born in Wisconsin, but he hates the cold, so he decided to become a jungle trooper. Basically the opposite of Iceberg, who was born in like Texas or something and hated the heat, so he became a snow trooper. And he is really cool. Like I said, we've gotten a Tiger Force version of him already, and that figure looked pretty good as well. But if you're an OG fan like me, then you gotta have the OG in your display. Right now I've got the Tiger Force holding the fort down, but as soon as I'm done with this review, he's going up in my display, and the Tiger Force 1 is going back in his box upstairs. I did the same thing with the Tiger Force Outback when I got the OG Outback, even though I really like the Tiger Force version. I think it looked really good. But I only have enough room in display for one of each figure, so I gotta go with the OG Recondo. I had this guy as a kid, the OG version, not this one, obviously. And I really liked him then, and I still like him now. He has a few upgrades since the 80s, of course. Anyway, looking at him carefully here, you've got that nice long slicked back hair, that Wild Bill Old West type, Wild Bill Hickok Old West type mustache there. Looks kind of cool. He's got this overlay shoulder piece with the holster. Straps around the back. And then he has an overlay here with his belt. And the bottom has parts of his shirt, so it makes it look like it's untucked. But that is an actual overlay. It moves around. And you could take it off and just have him with a tucked-in shirt, I guess. And lastly, he has an overlay piece here for his machete on his left leg. I don't think the watch is an overlay. No, that's sculpted or it's glued down. He's got a nice patch on his left shoulder, nothing on the right. Pretty plain brown shirt or tan shirt, whatever. It's got some pockets there. And then he's got the camo pants. Those green stripes going through it here. All the way down to his brown boots. Brown spat covering around the black boots, actually. And then that looks like it's strapped over the front of the boot. Doesn't look like it's easy for him to get to the laces with that strapped across the front, but oh well. And of course he's got that watch on his left wrist. Just all in all a good looking figure. So going over articulation, he's got that standard dumbbell at the top, no hinge, unfortunately. So he can look down about that far. He can look up about that far. He can do the Exorcist. He's got a bunch of tilt there. Not too bad. His arm can go all the way around. He can hinge up about 90 degrees. He does have the butterfly joint. Got the bicep cut. Double jointed pinless arms. That's nice. He's got the ab crunch at the waist, but he doesn't have a bulky vest, so he can get that far forward. And then he can get all the way back. He can twist again like he did last summer. And he's got a little bit of tilt there. He's got the drop down hips, and he can do the Van Damme. He can kick out about that high and kick back about that far. He's got bicep thigh cut, double jointed pinless knees, boot cut there. His foot can go back about that far. It doesn't want to go back. Oh, there we go. Can go forward about that far. It swivels side to side. And it's got peg holes on the bottom for a stand. Accessories wise, he comes with this tiny little handgun, all green plastic. It's got a little peg hole in the front for blast effects. This is a small little thing, but it goes in his front chest holster here. Guess they figured if they made it any bigger, it would look awkward or take up too much space there. He also comes with this nice machete. It's got a green handle and a nice silver painted blade. It also has a bit of, I don't know if that's supposed to be a serrated edge on the top. I've never seen a machete with any kind of blade really that has a serrated edge on the top of the blade instead of on the underneath of the cutting edge. but it has that. And it's kind of bendy, unfortunately. It's not as sturdy as the Tiger Force one, or even the Tiger Force Flint. Tiger Force Flint had a sturdier machete as well. That goes right into his machete knife holster there, his sheath. He comes with his trademark hat. It's got that one part pinned to the side. It's all green, rubbery plastic. And it's got a brown band around the bottom there. And that pops on his head like that. Looks good. He has this backpack, all green plastic except for the bedroll on top, which is brown. All looks nice there. Got a cantina detail there, some straps, and a little pouch on the front there, and some more pouches on the sides. That pops onto his back easy enough. And his hat came off when I set him down. And lastly, he comes with his rifle. This is all green plastic, and it's got the white tape wrapped around the various parts. Again, I think that might have to do with, I mentioned this for Outback's review, but I think this might have to do with keeping your grip in hot and humid jungles where your hands would get wet with sweat. So that would help you hold on to the various pieces of the gun that you're likely to come in contact with your hands. And that, of course, would be pressed against your chest. So if your shirt is all sweaty, maybe that'll keep the butt from slipping. And of course, you hold it here or there. So you want to keep it nice and taped so your hand doesn't slip when you're positioning the rifle to aim it. I think this has a removable magazine and a peg hole for blast effects. So everything is the same as the Tiger Force version. There's no differences. He comes with the exact same gear. The only difference is that I forgot to mention that his right arm has the vertical hinge, and his left arm, or left hand, right hand and left hand. I didn't go over hand articulation. But yeah, everything is the same as the Tiger Force version. The only difference is the color. I've seen some people do kit bashes where they took out pieces of the Tiger Force version and swapped them with this version. Like the pants, I believe, were one of those. And he looks pretty good like that as well. So if you're interested in kit bashes and the like, that is definitely one you might want to try. There we go. There's our review for Recondo. His hat fell off and landed on the floor, but I managed to find it and stick it on him now. Definitely a must-have for the collection, especially if you were a Real American Hero fan like me. I wouldn't have it any other way. He's one of the earliest figures I got. I believe he came out in 1983 or 84, one of those 2 years. But he was one of the earlier figures. And he got a lot of playing time when I was a child. I think I broke his thumbs, his crotch piece, as well as his O-ring. So he was in pieces by the time I was out of G.I.Joe playing. He was a casualty of war, alas. It's like so many other bright young Joes and Cobras. That's the review. Comment down below, like and subscribe. Stay tuned for Scarlet. She'll be the review on Friday, and I will see you then.